In this video, we're going to talk about the transportation section. Here's the table of contents for this video. Data entry, car pricing, some discussion on expenses, and then we'll talk a little bit about car loans. So for the green cells, we're going to cover basically lines 67 through 91, although there's only 2 cells where you really are going to interact with. So I've provided some basic ranges for new cars as well as used cars by model, so you can get a ballpark idea how much vehicles cost. In the green cells, you're going to enter the amount that you're going to borrow to buy the car. So for example, if you're going to buy a $20,000 car and you have $2,000 for down payment, you can just put in $18,000. If you don't have any down payment, then you put in the full price of the vehicle plus taxes. And then in the drop down menu, you select the length of the loan, either 3, 4, 5, or 6-year loans. Okay. And once you select the length of the loan, the system will calculate your monthly car payment plus some additional expenses, monthly maintenance, oil changes, insurance, and an estimate of your monthly gas, and that will give you your total transportation expense. If you do not have a car and you put in 0, then by default the system will put in $175 to cover like Uber, taxis, or subway fares and so forth. If $175 is not enough, then just play with the amount borrowed to get to a high enough number. So let's say you wanted to get closer to like $300 a month. You can put in like 7,000 to 43. All right, so you make it 8,000. You get close to 300. So you can just adjust the amount you borrow just so your monthly expense matches up what you think you're going to need for transportation if you don't have a car. We have 2 sections. One is going to be for the car that you'll have during residency, and then the second one would be the car that you'll have after residency. So you can, again, just put in the amount that you're going to borrow. So we can do 20,000 here and then 30,000 here. And you'll have 2 different car payment amounts. Okay, so if you already know how to find car prices, you know about car loans, you're basically done with the data entry from here. So for everybody else who doesn't know how to find cars or you're not familiar, I'm just going to quickly walk through the process. So I don't get compensated for any of these vendors. These are just people that I've used, and I think it makes it easy for me to explain how to do it. So this is just, I have used CarMax in the past to purchase vehicles. What they do is they sell primarily used cars, and they do fixed pricing. So the price that you'll see on the website is the price of the car. There's no going in or negotiating and trying to get a better deal. That it is what it is. They're nationwide. They also will do transfers. So they may have a location, let's say in Indiana, and they'll transfer it down to Louisville for a fee. So you'll see, depending on your search results, you can see this car has a $700 transfer fee. Whether that's worth it for you or not, I think the minimum one is like $99. Yeah, so that's just something to take into consideration. That you're not limited to just the inventory that's in your market. In order to narrow down the search, you have half a dozen or a dozen different search functions over on the left. And basically you can come at it from any different angle you want to, whether it's by make or by mileage. So for example, for me, I would do mileage. I'm going to do under 10,000 miles. That way it's basically a new car, even though you get used car pricing. And that will restrict the number of cars. It was originally, I think, like 48,000 was their total inventory. Now you're down to 3,400. And you can kind of work your way through the system to get down to a more manageable amount. And then, of course, you can sort by distance or miles or price. It's up to you. So I've already cheated, jumped ahead. What I have selected was a Nissan Sentra, either 2015 or newer, and less than 10,000 miles. And then I picked this car here. It's 14,600. It's got 10,000 miles on it. It's a 2015 Nissan Sentra SV. Okay. Now what you get when you look at these is, one, you get about, usually they have at least 20 pictures so you can see the interior and everything like that. you can get a pretty good look at it, even though it's in Greensboro, North Carolina. Okay. The other thing you can get is you will get features of the car. So again, you can confirm that it's got cruise control or not. And when you do your original search, you can search for cars only with cruise control and stuff like that. You also get what's called a vehicle history. And this is where you can find out if the car was like a rental car, or if it's been in a couple of accidents, or anything unusual about it. And you can review one of these on your own. I won't go through everything, but what I will show you here is you'll see under this vehicle usage that this was not a rental car, it wasn't a police car, and it wasn't a driver's ed car or anything like that. And then the only blue one is that it had a loan or a lien on it, meaning somebody had, gotten a loan out. The other thing to look at is what's called full history, and you want to look for the first time it was registered. Now you want to confirm this with the dealer, but my understanding of it is this is when the warranty date starts. So from like Nissan, they do 3 years, 36,000 miles, whichever comes up first. So for this particular car, the 3 years started January 7th, 2016. So even though it's a 2015 car, and we're in end of September right now, you got like 2.5 years left on the warranty, even though it's a 2015. So that gives you an idea how long the manufacturer warranty will be applicable to that individual car. Okay. Let's see if there's anything else. Yeah. So that's all the information that I wanted to show you about this. You can use this to kind of give you an idea of like what your budget, what you can get with your budget, or if you're looking for a particular car, how much you're really going to have to pay, or at least give you one pricing that is firm. Now, if you want to sell your car, CarMax will also buy cars, and it's a separate transaction, so you can do both at the same time, but you can do this as a separate transaction. You bring it to them, schedule your appointment. It's usually between 30 minutes and an hour, and they will take a look at the car. They'll give you a printout that says this is how much they're willing to buy it from you, and it's good for 7 days. So you have that as a point of reference if you go to buy, if you want to negotiate with somebody else on trade-in, or if you decide to sell it on your own, like on Craigslist or Cars.com. Kelley Blue Book, this is KBB.com, is another place where you can find out how much your car would be worth if you were to trade it in, or if you were to try to sell it. I mean, it gives you a ballpark price. So in these green boxes over here on the left, you have check my car value. You click on that, you put in the information about your particular car, and it'll give you a price. Again, I kind of jumped ahead. And so I've done a 2010 Ford Focus with 100,000 miles on it, and it's just a basic car. And this shows you your range on trade-in, 2,500 to 3,400. And then if you wanted to sell it, like on Craigslist, shows that you get about $4,000 for it. So it's up to you whether it's worth the additional work to try and sell it directly, or just deal with the trade-in. And then also it gives you a point of reference when you're trading it in, whether you're getting reasonable value from the dealer. Okay. The next part I want to talk about is car loans. And on the spreadsheet, you'll see that there's a drop-down menu where you can pick different terms of the loans. Now, for example, this $20,000 loan, the 48 is going to give you a monthly payment of about $450. And now, what you can do is you can drop it down to $315 just for the car payment. You still have other expenses, but extending the length of the loan can significantly drop the per month cost or the monthly payment of the car. But I would suggest that you want to do either a 36 or 48 month loan. And this is the reason why. One is your warranty typically is going to cover 3 years or 36,000 miles. So after that period, you are now responsible for if the transmission goes, or if anything breaks in the car, it's your responsibility to fix it. So if you have a 72-month loan and things start breaking down on the car, you still have to make the $315 a month payment, and you got to cover these new additional repairs. So in my opinion, if you can afford it and make it work, you may have to get less of a car, but if you can pay it off in 3 or 4 years, then you're not in that financial crunch when something goes, like you got to buy a new set of tires or something. The other thing is, if you hang it, let's say you do a 3-year car payment, if you hang on to it for 4 or 5 years, that gives you time to save up money for a down payment on the next car. So then you can actually get a nicer car without getting a significantly higher car payment. So the last thing I wanted to mention is, when you're looking at cars, you want to also think about the maintenance of them. So some cars require premium gas only, and some cars will take regular gas, and the premium gas can be like 30% higher. So, and every time you go to fill up, you just got to buy the premium gas. Also, the tires, it's kind of weird, but well, it is what it is. But tires on like a Lexus or an Audi, those can be like $200, $225 a pop, and on a Nissan Sentra they can be like $50 a pop. So if you have to replace 4 tires, you're looking at $300 versus $1,000 or $1,500. You want to make sure you're going to be able to afford that within your budget. All right. I think that wraps up the car section.